We begin tonight with breaking news out of Lancaster County. The U.S. Geological Survey reports a 2.3 magnitude earthquake. To put it into perspective, $20,000 could patch more than 100 potholes or resurface a street in your neighborhood the length of nearly 2 football fields. We do have live team coverage tonight. Don White is talking to people who live in the area, but we want to start with Sari Soffer live in Manor Township. And Sari, you just got an update from emergency responders. We're trying to get answers for taxpayers. Don't you think they deserve a response to how their money is being used? A Pennsylvania community is mourning the death of a pregnant woman and 2 young children in a house fire in Berks County. If I'm a school board member and my husband is a teacher in that same school district, I'm allowed to vote to give all teachers across the board raises, even though I'm using your tax dollars to boost my family's income. All right, Don, and we are here now with meteorologist Ryan Coyle digging into the science behind this. I know at first it came out it was a 2.7 magnitude, then it went down to 2.3. Why did that happen? For the next 3 months, my husband's one true love is college football.
Steve, fight the good fight, my friend.
He is. Don't worry, he is. Thanks, Pat. We'll be right back. Tonight, as we're tracking major storm damage across several counties, we're getting a lot of pictures like this one from Lidditz Police. There are reports a funnel cloud went through Lancaster County, but Ryan, you were telling me earlier a few things have to happen before we can use that word tornado. All right, Ryan, we do have team coverage of the damage from today's storms. The severe weather part is over, but the cleanup will go on for a lot longer. Let's start with Samantha Galvez live after gathering information from all over Lancaster County. Samantha. And happening now in Columbia, Lancaster County, where we just saw Samantha. Roads closed because wires are still down after those storms. Police say they've shut down the 500 block of Maple and 1200 block of Walnut. The 900 block of Ironville Pike and 500 block of Manor Street were blocked off, but our crews out there say they do appear to be open right now. Police say you should avoid the closed off areas and respect any barriers that are up. In York County, the storms hit a neighborhood in Windsor Township hard, moving through fast, but it was enough time to damage homes and other properties. Chris Davis continues our team coverage. And we do have an update for you. Power starting to come back on in parts of York, Lebanon, and Lancaster counties, but there are still a lot of outages. Lebanon County right now is in the best shape. This Med-Ed map shows just a few hundred outages. York County still has more than 2,000 without power, and this PPL map here shows roughly 4,000 outages in Lancaster County, many in Clay and Elizabeth Townships, and PPL did tweet that it's bringing in additional employees and contractors to work through the night to restore power. But because of the large amount of repairs, some people won't get it back until late tomorrow. And we got an update just a few minutes ago that Lancaster County's power may not be back on until 11 p.m. on Sunday. Now to breaking news out of Perry County. The coroner called to the scene of a fire in Wheatfield Township. It happened at a mobile home on Paradise Road around 7:30 this evening. We're working right now to learn more information, and we'll let you know as soon as we have those details. The latest now on the murder suspect accused of kidnapping his 6-year-old daughter in Connecticut, sparking a multi-state Amber Alert that ended in Pennsylvania. Immigration enforcement officers confirming the suspect is a citizen of El Salvador and was deported back in 2013. At this point, they're not sure how he got back into the country. Oscar Hernandez was arrested yesterday on a Center County highway. He's accused of kidnapping his daughter after stabbing and killing her mother in a home in Connecticut. Another person inside the home was also stabbed, but is expected to survive. Police arrested Hernandez after a high-speed chase and crash. 2 troopers and the little girl were hurt, but fortunately the injuries were minor. New tonight at 11 tonight in Pittsburgh, the Penguins taking on the Flyers outdoors at Heinz Field. But next year it'll be the Hershey Bears' turn. Greg Mace has the story on tonight's big announcement. We still have a lot more ahead for you, including a big celebration for Central Pennsylvania's most popular pet, and later district wrestling highlights in sports. You're watching ABC 27 News. We are working for you.
Cumberland County man had a hard time getting answers from his township, so he turned to Amanda St. Hilaire.
Walking the kids to and from school.
Jack Wolf's job as a Lower Allen Township Community Service Officer
It's rewarding because you get to work with the little ones.
has taken on new meaning over a tough year.
Right now it gives me an initiative to get up, get moving since my wife passed.
A few months from these moments, a lifetime of public service will come back in a way he never imagined. But Jack doesn't know that yet.
I lived in this house 48 years. My wife and I liked the house, the location.
A location over a stormwater line.
We had a problem shortly after we moved with a sinkhole. The township took care of it.
And filled another a few years later. No more issues until shortly after Jack's wife passed away. Last June, he came home to this.
I looked at it, I couldn't believe it. It wasn't as big as it is now.
So Jack did what he'd always done, called Lower Allen Township. Jack says a few commissioners took a look, said they'd take care of it.
2 days later, I got a letter from the township manager stating, it's my problem, they're not going to do nothing.
Filling a sinkhole properly can cost thousands of dollars. Jack spent months looking for answers.
This is a crock. Since I'm not getting anywhere, I figured I'm going to call the news and maybe they can help me.
We looked at Jack's documents and filed right-to-know requests. We learned Jack's development was built in the 1950s. The township did not install the stormwater line, a private developer did. But the township stormwater system did end up moving through those lines, including the one in Jack's yard. We found a 1962 letter about Jack's property from the Federal Housing Administration after a damaged pipe caused a sinkhole, saying the local authorities are responsible for repairs. We also found a letter from Jack's neighbors saying the township has always made repairs and filled sinkholes after their stormwater line issues.
I've been a commissioner for 16 years. We have never fixed a sinkhole on private property.
Lower Allen Commissioner Ed Black says this policy protects your money.
We're trying to keep taxes as low as we can, but keep the job done. If we start taking care of sinkholes on private property, which is where we should not be, then we're setting a precedent for everyone to ask us to fix their sinkhole.
As for Jack's situation,
the pipe that you ask about is a private pipe. It's not a township pipe.
But if you have an older home, it's often not that simple.
Unfortunately, years ago, the townships weren't on top of this. Some developers weren't being supervised.
Real estate and land use attorney Hubert Gilroy says that's why there isn't always correct documentation.
However, townships recently have started to adopt ordinances saying that the stormwater facilities are the landowner's responsibility.
But some judges have ruled differently, saying tax dollars should pay for the upkeep of a system that benefits everyone else.
You can just barely see the pipe.
That's why Jack's neighbors support him.
Well, of course it's on private property, but it's certainly nothing that I put in, and I'm pretty sure Jack didn't sneak in here 30 years ago and attach a big pipe to their storm drain out there. So who else does it belong to?
As we made calls and found more documents, word got out.
Hey.
He's been a crossing guard for years, watching my kids go back and forth to school, and when I heard about it, I see if we could do something for him to help out a neighbor.
That's why, on this Saturday morning, Jack Simpson wasn't acting as Jack Wolf's township commissioner. He was there, with many others, as a neighbor.
If someone's in a jam and we can give a little help, then we're going to show up.
JROTC students from Cedar Cliff donated their time. Local businesses donated extra materials.
The Amish do the barn raising if something happens, so I figured we could have an old-fashioned hole filling.
Bringing Jack's property that much closer to the life he and his wife built.
When they called and said that this was going to happen, I was really amazed. And with y'all investigating and everything else, it was just like everything turned around and came out for the best.
The question for everyone tonight, though, is do you know where your money is really going? Here's Amanda St. Hilaire's investigation.
A few months ago, we got calls from viewers like you, wanting to know why tax dollars pay for Lower Paxton Township leaders to eat large meals during closed-door meetings. So we went through their public records and receipts. Here's what we found. Before each public meeting, the people who control your tax dollars have a meeting of their own. You're not invited, but you are paying for it. Here's how. On a typical meeting day, a township employee makes several food stops, usually Costco, Giant, and Central Dauphin Pizza. This employee is in a township car and on township time. Your tax dollars pay for both. Receipts show this is the usual amount of food purchased with the township credit card. 18-inch subs, a few rolls, large salads, snack foods, fresh fruit, and several varieties of soda and bottled water. This order is so consistent that when we called it in, we were asked if we were ordering for the township. The manager and supervisors eat all this in a closed-off room in the township building. If you divide it all out, each person gets this much. So much that sources say some of the food gets thrown out. From 2010 through 2015, Lower Paxton Township supervisors spent more than $11,500 on food for themselves. When you factor in that township employee's time and mileage, that's more than $20,000 of your money. To put it into perspective, $20,000 could patch more than 100 potholes or resurface a street in your neighborhood the length of nearly 2 football fields. Still, for a big township, $20,000 is a drop in the bucket. So what's the big deal? To start, Lower Paxton supervisors have been raising taxes. Instead of cutting back on food spending during that time, the supervisors ramped it up by 73% over a 5-year span, all to feed the same amount of people. That led us to wonder what the rest of township spending is like. So we checked the credit card policy, all 2 sentences. Nothing in here says you can't buy alcohol, no requirements for itemized receipts, and no price limits on meals. So it wasn't out of the ordinary when the supervisors spent tax dollars on buffets at the local Hibachi Grill. Or when a different department dropped $305 and came back with a receipt not showing what was actually purchased. This $384 tab from Mount Hill Tavern is itemized. The township says it was reimbursed for the alcohol, but your tax dollars still paid for lobster and crab cakes. So are you getting your money's worth?
Based on the research I conducted, pizza doesn't help you become a better public servant.
Government watchdog Eric Epstein lives in Lower Paxton Township. He's worried about where his tax dollars go, but he's more concerned about something else.
People are disheartened. They're losing faith in the system because in order for the system to work, it has to function in an open, transparent fashion.
Remember, when the supervisors meet to eat, you're not invited. That could be a problem.
Where this isn't just a technicality.
Attorney Craig Stoudemire focuses on the Sunshine Act, Pennsylvania's law regulating open meetings.
The public not only has a right to see the final vote, the public has the right to see the process, the discussion, the deliberation, where a particular commissioner, council person stands, on a particular issue and why they voted the way they did.
Meaning when those Lower Paxton leaders are together for their private meals, they cannot discuss township business.
A lot of times when those problems happen, it's because they just don't understand the law. However, there are some times when they're intentionally trying to avoid the requirements of the law.
We called, left messages, and sent emails to Lower Paxton Township's manager and supervisors. No one responded. So we showed up at a township meeting.
Excuse me, Amanda St. Hilaire with ABC 27. I've been trying to reach all of you about tax dollars used to fund the meals that you eat before the meetings. Do you have any response to that? We're trying to get answers for taxpayers. Don't you think they deserve a response to how their money is being used? Do you have any response to the tax dollars that are used? Don't you think taxpayers deserve some kind of response to how their money is being used? We've been trying to get in touch with you.
They certainly do. We just had a wonderful report just a few minutes ago where the tax dollars go. Thank you.
Yes, but right now I'm asking you about the meals that the supervisors eat prior to public meetings. Tax dollars pay for those. Do you have any response to that?
No response.
Do you plan to respond to these questions and give taxpayers information about that money?
We will continue to go through records and hold leaders accountable, but activists say the real change will come from you.
What aids abuse of government power is non-participation by the community. people not showing up to the polls, people not showing up to meetings, people not following through. Part of your civic duty, part of your obligation is when you see something happen that you believe to be wrong, you need to report it.